Robyn Friedman today, and we're talking about a subject that I'm actually passionate about from afar. I own a mortgage and real estate company, sold over 8,000 homes and mortgage loans, and I was fascinated by the home sellers that tried to sell a home that was either stark empty or had the big mosaic wall of family pictures on it, both of which drove me crazy, and I refused to let them show a house like that.
Absolutely.
So you do home staging, but you do it with a totally different twist.
Absolutely. So I am a home coach,
Okay.
which no one ever has heard of that before because I termed that.
I think it's brilliant.
I worked under an interior designer. I was a fashion design major, and then came here. There was no fashion. So I'm like, what do I do with my creativity? And I started working under an interior designer over 20 years ago. And what I realized is our interior designers come in and tell you what to do. They come with their big boards and they show you what to do. And I'm like, there's something missing. People have to really feel like it's them in their own homes. And I went in with a totally different approach, and I go in from the inside out. And my process is that we release what no longer serves you and really touch each piece in your home and make sure that you're loving the pieces around you. That release part takes you all into professional organizing. We organize it. I could stage your house for you if you need to put it on the market. I could do all the coloration with all the different paint. I could redesign it, and I could remodel it.
Wow.
So I am pretty much a one-stop shop, but the first part is coming in and really helping people go from very overwhelmed in their home with all their stuff and not even knowing what they like anymore.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So for me, I love my home. To me, it's beautiful. It's great. But we just talked about in the previous segment, I have big poker parties and everybody comes over. And there's probably people that come in the door and they're like, well, okay, this is one way to do it. I think it's a beautiful home, but there's probably too much. I've been there for 25 years. I'm not a hoarder. It's very classy. But you come in and would say, hey, Jim, this looks great. This looks great. What was your thought process on this? Do you love this? Do you love this?
Exactly.
I would think something more appropriately scaled. So you can do that.
100%.
Beautiful. I think, me personally, own a mortgage real estate company. I think your highest and best use is working with real estate agents, right, to stage homes for sale that are either empty or way not empty or too cluttered. And I think that's brilliant for a real estate agent to hire you or the client to hire you to come in and make that home optimal to sell for the highest dollar, because that's what every seller wants.
Absolutely. And it's also very overwhelming when you first approach a realtor and you have this, large home accumulated of 20 years of things. You can't even think about putting it on the market because you have to clean it out, and you don't even know what to do or where to start.
Yeah.
And that, by me, I'm like the secret sauce to most realtors, because I'll come in and say, I'm going to hold your hand through this whole process.
Yeah.
We're going to help you declutter first, then only pack the things you love to take with you to your next place.
Okay.
And then once they go to their next place, I can help them unpack it and place it.
Yeah.
But the best part is that they don't feel as lonely. They don't feel as overwhelmed.
Wow.
It's all very seamless, and it helps people just go from that feeling of panic and not knowing where to start.
Overwhelm.
And it really, really can be fun. And you could really, I want people to feel that when they move or when they have their transition in life, that they are doing it in a way that they're keeping room for their next chapter and not just taking all of the things that they've had and collected, putting it in boxes, and it ends up in their garage, and they don't see it again.
It might fit with the decor. It might have good memories. It might have bad memories. There might have been deaths, divorces, all kinds of movement. Right? So you just clean that out mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, clean that out.
And we talk about that. I do talk about things have energy in them.
Absolutely.
I mean, you and we all do know that. There are certain things that bring us joy, and that's what I encourage that we have to live around. And then there are things, to your point, that a friend who you no longer talks to, or a family member, or just it's old and it's had its life. I also help them to find a new home for it, which makes them feel better. I have a very close relationship with my girlfriend who owns a consignment store. I have appraisers that can come in if it's worth a lot of money and have auctions for your things. Or I have a phenomenal company that they will take everything for the less fortunate, and it will go. So even toiletries and anything, instead of just going to the landfill, I will always find a home for your things, so you feel better about it.
That's beautiful.
And or make money from it.
That's beautiful. So if you have a home that, again, doesn't have the right energy, anything to do with it, that's amazing. So the scope of what you can do is a lot wider than I initially thought. I thought maybe there's an empty home and somebody's trying to sell it. And if you're a real estate agent or a seller of a home, or you're going to sell your home, don't even think of moving your stuff out and moving to Indiana or back to Minnesota or Florida or California without calling you and getting that home staged, because you will sell your home for so much more less if it's not staged. So that's what I originally saw, which is a great thing. Or decluttering that house for a real estate agent to sell it for a client. And the great news is the real estate agent can keep their relationship very solid and intact with their client, kind of dish off some of that pressure on you a little bit, where you come in with the love, but tough love, sweet love, whatever you've got to do to get that person to see what you see for them.
Correct.
Right.
I also can help. I've helped a lot of children with elderly parents.
Okay.
And they're in different states, and they have littles, and they now have to move their loved one into an assisted living. And they don't know what to do. They don't know where to turn. They're overwhelmed by it. So I will gently clean out that house with that older person and make sure her assisted living reflects her home with her valuables, and then the children don't have to deal with all that stuff. Absolutely. It's very, very difficult letting go of things that your family or your parents think that they want you to have, and you just don't want it. I mean, I tell I do some presentations for women, wise aging, and I say, it's such a disservice to give your children this job of cleaning out your house after you pass. Like, maybe go through it, give them those beautiful things that you want them to have while you're still here. And then the rest of your life, you could live clutter-free, and it'll just make things easier for everyone.
Wow.
So it's touching your things and understanding, do I really need to live with this? And if I let it go, will that open me up to really living the way I want to live?
Wow.
So it's,
I have two firsthand stories, and I know we have limited time, and I'll keep them short. First of all, where were you 5 years ago? And I moved my mom down from Minnesota, who is a German-Irish, everything's a certain way. My dad had passed away, unfortunately. God bless you in heaven, Daddy-O. And she had, not a hoarder, but not somebody that got rid of anything. Does that make sense?
Of course.
Her home was beautiful. We lived on 5 acres. It was gorgeous. It was a nice estate. But my dad passed, and she, after one winter there alone, she decided to move down to Phoenix, be my son and daughter, myself. And it was a process. It was a process of mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, financially, just going through all of it, which was a lot. And I knew to be patient. At the end of the day, she wasn't a hoarder, but again, a big house and lots of stuff and sheds and garages. And it was just a process. Finally, we got to the point where we hired an estate sale. I found somehow through a referral 734 items.
Wow.
They came out and took pictures. 3 days of photographers taking pictures, put it on an online auction from Sunday to Sunday, sold everything, and I was so proud of my mom. She saved, I think, 4 things. I moved her down here. We got a cube, whatever, U-Haul cube, and loaded some things in, like 4 major items she wanted to bring down here. And I was so proud of her. But that was a process to get there mentally for her. There was some yelling, there was some crying, there was some screaming, and I just tried to love on her because she lived there for 42 years.
Well, you're a good son.
Yeah.
You're a really good son. Some sons are not as patient, and they don't have the bandwidth, and it's everybody has different attachments to things.
But I knew that. So I flew back there. I was there for 3 weeks. I said, I'm going to stay here, visit all my buddies. I still have very close friends there and such. So, you're right. I probably was lucky. She was lucky that we're, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, financially secure to be able to do all that. I could see a lot different situations. Another one, a friend of mine who's a realtor back in Minnesota, just called. We talked last week, and he rehabbed a house so he could sell it for a friend of his father, and then the father and the son were having not the same type of easy situation I had and fighting, but it was a hoarder house, not junk and garbage and nasty, just the guy had been through the depression, didn't want to throw anything. So my friend Brian, as a real estate agent, had the whole home cleaned out, and he redid a bathroom in the house that was really, really kind of nasty and cruddy. He did it by himself with his own money, his own materials, and a friend, and did it. And the gentleman that was moving out couldn't speak anymore. He's up elderly, and he couldn't speak. But he said he pulled me in close, shook my hand, and he had tears running down his cheeks and a big smile on his face. And my buddy Brian's a very Christian guy. He got all choked up on the phone telling me the story. I said, that is beautiful. And he said, Jim, the look on his face when he was crying, and he couldn't speak, but his eyes said, thank you.
Well,
thank you.
That's
right?
Actually, you touched exactly why I do what I do.
Yeah.
Every single time I help people clean out their things,
Yeah.
they become my best friend. I could become their
Yeah.
best friend. We hug, we cry.
Wow.
And one of the children I helped their dad, same thing. He was in a depression. He lost his wife very suddenly and did not live for 6 months. I mean, literally he had mail up to, very sad, very, very sad when I walked in. And after spending about 5 days with him, we cleaned out everything. I literally went through his mail, cleaned out his entire home. Wow. And the most incredible compliment I ever got was their kids called me and said, Robyn, you give people their life back.
Yeah.
And you are inspiring lives. And, Inspired Home Coaching is the name of my company. And when she said that, I was hysterical crying, because that's all I want to do is help people live a better life. And we don't realize how stuff bogs us down.
It really does.
In every way.
It really does.
I mean, it's just, it really does stop us and paralyze us from moving forward in every way, every part of our life. Yeah. So anybody in a transition, I mean, many of my friends have rooms, they've become junk rooms. Their kids left, they have these rooms, they become their junk rooms. And I went and I'm like, well, why don't you make that an exercise room? You love to exercise. She's like, I never thought of that.
She didn't even think
in a day.
You planted the idea.
Yeah, it's like in a day we did it. I'm like, just get rid of this, put up some mirrors. She's like, I never would have thought of that. So it's another perspective that also comes in. I had a woman who loves to wake up and do devotions, and she shared that with me. I always try to get to, what are you missing in your home that you feel like maybe we need to make a space for? And she wants to do devotions in the morning. And I looked around her very large bedroom. I said, how about that corner? She didn't even think about it, and I literally opened up her shades, because a lot of people, brought in the sun, took down certain dark things that were in there, put one of her chairs from another room with an ottoman and a reading table, and she still till this day says, every morning when I go to write my devotions, I think of you. I'm going to cry, because it was putting a chair in her room with the chair she had. Yeah. But she didn't put two and two together. Yeah. And it's helping someone to see the forest through the trees.
Wow.
Because it's very overwhelming for everyone. Moving, remodeling, moving, home projects, it gets people really, in a bad place that they don't need to stay. No. And it's more fun to have somebody to do it with you. Everything is better when you have somebody to hold your hand.
It's easier with your loving touches, and you're not biased, you're not in the family, you're not their daughter or son.
Right, exactly.
Right, where they're just there's already history there, so you can come in and love them. So real estate agents should definitely have your card and contact information and know about you.
I do a lot.
That's probably a lot of referral. Who else would be a good?
Senior transition specialists, actually, for that exact reason. But anybody really going through a place in their life where they just are stuck. Yeah. And they don't know where to turn, and you don't want to turn to an interior designer if you don't know what you want to create, and you rely on an interior designer to get you there. Then you're kind of giving up your own authenticity. Mm-hmm. And I do interior design, and I have phenomenal interior design friends, and they have their own purpose, and they're amazing. I'm not saying they're not. But some people don't need that.
Yeah.
They
it's
just
definitely a different genre versus what you're doing.
Yes.
You're doing the holistic.
Yes, and I'm cleaning it out. We're doing the process. We're cleaning it out before we redesign it. Yeah. But I do many remodels as well, because we just, and what's really fun is to watch somebody get their own momentum. Yeah. And then I have a phrase called "touch it once," and I I love my clients will be like, I'm touching it once.
That's
and,
brilliant.
you know, I want to coach you to do it by yourself. I mean, I'm not going to be there forever. So I kind of give you tools. You touch things once, and then where does it live? That's the two things.
Great point.
You have to, once you touch it, it has to have a place where it lives.
Either stay or
always.
go. Or
yes.
storage or donate it.
Yes, we have. Yeah, I work with masking tape a lot, and we mark it, and it's like donate. You know, get rid of whatever it's going to be. But if they're keeping it, it has to live somewhere, and then wherever it lives is where everything else in that genre live.
Wow.
So I kind of systemize your house.
Brilliant.
And just make it so it's giving you space to get to your next chapter, whatever that looks like.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. How can people find you and reach you? And
I have a website that's it's Inspired Home Coaching. It is actually Inspired Home Coaching. Okay. It is definitely it's a work in progress, so don't judge me on my website. It is but you can reach me there. You can contact me
or Instagram.
Instagram, Inspired Home Coaching.
Perfect. I think people love Instagram, Inspired Home Coaching. There'll be some pictures and clients, and that's perfect.
Everything's a work in progress on my social media, but it's all there. Yes,
all of us are work in progress, right? Till we go to heaven or wherever we end up.
Aren't we all?
Right?
We're all a work in progress, and that's what makes it fun.
Amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much.